I straight gone, bro.
It's been a minute. I haven't seen this kitchen in a minute. Oh, I don't have anything to drink. This is the Vodcast, baby.
The Vodcast.
The Vodcast. A little bit of that. Not that. We tried to go to a sex store earlier.
I don't know. One time, I went to check on the sex store at Sabian, and they were like, you have your ID? I was like, oh, I have mine. And Sabian was like, oh, I don't have mine, but I have a picture. And they started screaming at us. They're like, get the fuck out. You guys are over there. I was like, here's my ID. Like, what the fuck? I was like, yo, here's my ID. They're like, no, I don't believe it. I'm like, why would I get an 18-year-old ID? Like, what is that gonna do for me?
If I was gonna get a fake ID, wouldn't it be 21? Like, wouldn't it be believable?
Like, oh, here's an 18-year-old ID. Like, that's gonna give me nothing in this. Like,
I can't buy wraps anymore. Like,
wow, I go into sex stores and like, what the fuck? Instead of buying 21, I want to go into sex stores. Like,
I remember when I went to the sex store in Rapid, Diggs and Janes. I remember I went in and the same sweater, literally the same sweater with a Naruto shit on my back. I walked in, walked past, and like, hey. I was like, yeah. And they're like, are you old enough? And I was like, yeah, I'm 18. I was like, I'm 19. They're like, show some ID. This is before I got my driver's license. All I had was my tribal on me, and I was like, and they looked at it. And they were like, Is this a real ID? And I was like, yeah, it is. It's my tribal ID. I'm native. And they were like, they looked at it and they looked at me and they're like, is this you? And I was like, yeah, I had long hair. They looked at the birthday. They're like, we'll let it slide this one time. And I was like, I didn't do shit.
what slide?
It says I'm 18.
Like, my friend Maniga had a green card, and we went to Rolling Smoke when it was 18, because for a while it was 18. Because they went off like a different law, but they fixed that, I guess. But, what happened again? He's trying to show him his green card, and the dude's like, show me a real ID. And he's like,
damn.
This is my green card. He's like, are you sure it's not a fake? And he's like, it says green card in there. And he's like, and we had to ask him a question. We were like, why would we show a fake ID that's not 21? And people do that. People buy 18, well, I'm pretty sure they don't do it anymore. But like people did buy 18-year-old fake IDs so they could get like Nick and stuff. Just shows how much fiends people are. Like, hey, get a 21-year-old. Imagine getting an 18-year-old one and then they change the law.
Dude, that was literally me.
I think it's dumb as fuck how they changed the law.
All because of Trump. Trump did this.
Well, no.
I was kidding. It was all because of Jewel. Kids were like weak white kids basically were like having.
I ain't gonna lie, it's everybody. We bring it to school and get caught, and people were like.
But like there was also those kids that are like, my lungs filling up with liquids because I vape too much. It wasn't about that, bro.
Nigga, you wanna know what that's from? It was from fake carts, because people were buying fake carts. That's what literally killed the people who like died from vaping, was because they were hitting fake carts with a shit ton of chemicals in there that weren't chemicals. Like, we're not like yeah, this shit isn't supposed to go in our lungs, like, yeah. But like the shit they would use in carts was like, no. Like, I watched niggas, like, we used to fill carts up with syrup all the fucking time.
Why?
Because, like, we would have a cart that we used, would fill it with syrup and sell it to people. And then they would be like, it was so gas, and it's like,
it was just the placebo. Like, you getting high off a maple?
We put fucking honey in there. Oh my god.
Poor guys. I remember these guys used to sell us carts, but they did have weed in them, but it was resin. It was like wax resin.
Yeah.
So like they would just melt the resin out of their big grams and put them in carts and then sell them to us. Which, it's not bad, but like still.
Nigga, then like for example, have you ever heard those Supreme carts and stuff? Like, you were stupid as fuck if you bought those. Like, if you bought a Supreme cart, you were one dumb fucking retard, bro.
Damn.
Like, I mean, you are. Cause ain't no company gonna, like, you know what I mean? Ain't gonna sell cars like that, and that's what killed people. That's what made people's fucking lungs explode. Cause there was not actual
THC.
Like, yeah, it was like a shit ton of other oils and gross stuff that are not supposed to be in your lungs, and then they blamed it on vapes, so they wouldn't get in trouble.
No, Supreme. I doubt they would sell THC to minors.
And like, I don't know, this kind of correlates. Like people, like, you know how like edibles are a big thing? Like I see people like get these like Dots ones, and I'm like, the Dot company would not sell edibles, and then like it says buy the Dot company, or like buy some big brand company, like candy company, and I'm like they wouldn't be selling that stuff. Like that is fake. They're like, well, it got me more high than those ones, and I'm like, because that shit's not supposed to be in your body. Like, and like the high, like from like the Supreme Courts, yeah, you got high from them, but like that was not like
It was like probably like what is it now, like Delta 8?
No, it was like shit, like people.
Well, like it was probably like Delta 8, but mixed with a bunch of other shit to like make it look like it was an actual card.
But like, for example, like, you know, like when you hit those fake cards, like the completely different high you get from actual cards.
It got buzz.
Like it's like, what the fuck? Like I went to this party.
I never hit a fake card. I don't understand.
I have hit a fake card, and when I tell you it gives you the worst high in the world, like you get more high. Like you get like a way more high, but it doesn't feel right from way less. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it makes you like.
It's like mix or something.
Yeah, you could tell it's like not actual.
It's not weed.
Yeah.
Cause like someone who like smokes weed will know if it's weed.
But like some of them don't even notice. Some of them just think they're more high, or like the card has different
They just hope that like the placebo effect will take place. Like I feel like stupid people will think that like, bro, that card's so good, but meanwhile their like lungs are bleeding. Nah, like that was my worst fear. Like same thing. Like that was my worst fear ever. Like becoming a pothead, because my whole life, like my parents were like, drugs are bad. You could get laced. You could die. I've seen people overdose on fentanyl doing weed, and I was like, me and my dad sitting there sparking up a joint. He's like, yeah. Well then like real talk, I like smoked with my dad like for the first time, and like I knew my shit was like all natural because I got it from Ben.
Yeah.
Ben goes Colorado. I knew I got it.
Shouldn't have said that right there.
Well, that's not his real name though.
But continue.
But I got it from some guy. Like goes like he brings it back. Like he has a medicinal license basically, but like, and then like my dad was like, "Are you sure this is real?" And I was like, "Of course it's real." He's like they just got done chewing my ass like for like selling. Like I was selling it like out of my ounce. And then they got mad at me and they're like, "We don't want you selling." And then like my mom was like, "You can smoke it, but you can't sell it. That just looks bad." And I was like, "Okay." And like I was like, "All right, guess I'm not selling." Walked to my room all pissed, and I was like, "Man, I was making pretty good bank off that too." And then my dad walks in. My mom goes to the room because she's too pissed. Dad knocks on my door. I'm like, "Yeah, what's up?" I'm putting my like I had this like old ass cookie jar, like one of those ones that you can seal, like the ones when she had.
Yeah.
We had one of hers. It would just open like that, and I put my weed in there, and I would close it, and then like my dad walked in, and I put it in my jar, and he was like, "So what kind of shit you got?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "What kind of stuff you got?" And I was like my weed. He's like, "Yeah, like." I was like, we'll get this old stir high or what? And I was like, why, you want to look at it? And like I opened it up and like, remember how like some strains of weed are like really dry, but they're really good, like Gorilla Glue?
Yeah. That's
the strain I had, and like I handed him a nug, and he was like, walked to my desk and he grabbed it, he's like, crumbled in my hands, doesn't mean it's good. And I was like, it's like, you want to go? Like, you want to go smoke, right? He's like, yeah, let's go. This is where I learned the word doobski from. Like, no one knew the word doobski until my dad said it. He's like, let's go roll a doobski then. And I was like, what the fuck? And then we went out and like we smoked two joints. And my dad was sitting there like he was high. He was sitting there. It was a stinger at that point. He was like, "You got the shit, huh?" I was like, then he like had like a midlife crisis. He's like, "Wonder what your grandma would think He looked up, like, we were in a camper, he looked up, he's like, bet you she's mad right now. I was like sitting there like, I don't know, she let you guys smoke, right? And he's like, yeah, but I don't know about the grandkids. And he was like, I was like, I took it from him, I was like, I think that's enough, man. Like, homeboy had the whole midlife crisis right there.
Bro, this reminds me of someone, like, my homie, like, this dude was, like, good grade, straight A fucking student, and he knew I smoked. He's like, I'm gonna smoke with you. I was like, okay, bet, let's go smoke. Like, it took us a while. We're smoking in the car, one of my friends driving. Nigga, dead silence in the back. Dead fucking silent for like an hour and a half. I was like, I turned around, he looks at me. Wonder how a horse feels. I was like, what the fuck? Bro, I was like,
What do you mean?
And he like just touched the thing. He's like, does it feel like this? I'm like, what the fuck? Bro, that nigga though is a druggie now, and I feel so fucking bad.
Damn.
Like, the nigga went from a straight A student to a kid who didn't graduate, and last thing I saw in his story was shove a shit ton of pills down his throat. Like, he saw a shit ton of pills. I've not heard from him since. And I was like, what the fuck? I was like, I feel bad. Like, this kid was a straight A, good student, like, church kid, like, went to church every, whatever the fuck they go to church for.
Turned into a devil.
I was like, and then, like, smoked once. And I'm like, oh, fuck. never drank alcohol, like, you know what I mean? Was waiting till marriage, like, all of that. And this, bro, I didn't, cause I didn't, like, make him, you know what I mean? He came to me. And even whenever, like, we smoked, I was like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, and he's like, yeah. And now he's just a fucking fuck boy, drugs all the time, went to jail multiple times, stopped going to church, fucking dropped out of school, does pills. I'm like, I ruined this nigga's life, bro. I feel so bad.
Nah, that's not your fault. Because he decided to do all those things.
Yeah.
But that also reminds me of a story of when I used to sell edibles. CBD ones. But, I remember I did it in school. Like, I drove to school every day because I had, like, this rundown ass, repoed ass car that I drove to school every day. It was good on gas, the only reason why, and it had an aux cord, so that's the only reason I drove to school every day. Like, it was lunchtime, and I usually go out to my car. Like, before lunch, I post on my story, hit me up, going out to my car if you want. And, like, I would sit in my car, and people would walk up, and this one girl walked up to me. And, like, I talked to her, but, like, not in, like, that sense. Like, she wanted something, not me. I was just trying to fucking sell drugs. Or CBD. But, she walked up, knocked on my window, her and her gang of friends, like, some guy named Memphis. Not Memphis, I don't remember his name. Something like that, but then, like, they walked up, 3 people, clunk, 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 sitting there jamming out to dead ass. I was already pretty shittered, because I ate some when I was out there, and, like, it was, like, because I had a free period my senior year. It was before lunch, so I'd just sit in my car at that hour, and then lunch would start. But, like, I ate 2, and they came up when lunch started, and, like, I was just sitting there already, like, it was just like, what the fuck? And, like, I put, the music they walked up on me was Gary Come Home from SpongeBob.
Why?
I don't know. I do not know. Like, it was just like, I was like blasting it too. I was like, it's a good song.
It's a good song.
Yeah, came from a kid's show too. I was like, this is Pet. And, like, they walked up and they're like, are you playing Gary Come Home? And I was like, nah, I switched the sound to, like, some trap, and I was like, nah, I'm not listening to that. And they're like, well, we want to buy edibles. And I was like, there's like $10 for a cookie. And they're like, okay. Well, I made these cookies at home. It was like my first 10 minutes. They weren't bad, but, like, I put too much yeast and dough in it. Like, I put too much yeast. It was basically like shortbreads. But, like, people didn't care. They just wanted they wanted what they wanted. And, like, I gave them to this girl. Gave him to this guy. Guy was having a blast after lunch. Like, they hit him then, and then they were like, guy was sitting there, like, having a blast. He was like, yeah. Homegirl walked up to me, and she was like, what'd you have in those cookies? And her fucking face was swollen. And I was like, what you mean? And she was like, my throat's real itchy. And I was like, you better not say anything. I didn't give these to you. You just ate something at lunch. And she was like, I can't breathe. And I was like,
just had a fucking allergic reaction.
I was like, I think you should go to the nurse. I think you had something bad to eat. And her friend was just like, we didn't eat lunch. And I was like, you need to shut the fuck up. She ate lunch. She's like, what was in those? And I was like, vanilla extract, yeast, cookie dough, sugar. I was like, weed. She was like, I don't think they're supposed to react like that. Bro, when I tell you her cheek was fat, it was fat. Like she just got punched. And I was like... So, like, I got scared. And I was like, I ran out to, like, the football game. And I was just sitting out there. She comes back. She's like, you have to give me Benadryl and an ice pack. And, like, her face was just red. I was like, how do you feel, though? She's like, I feel good. I was like, she's like, besides the allergic reaction. I was like, I never sold to her again. I was like,
no, this is more of a sad story though.
Jeez.
Like, I'm sorry, this is more of a sad story. It's still get kind of funny, but it's also really sad. But like, so I used to, well, I didn't hang out with them. So when I hung out with my two other friends, they liked going to this girl's house who had like a 12-year-old fucking sister. Mm-hmm. And the 12-year-old sister would not act like she's 12. I mean, never go to school, did drugs. She was having sex. No, she was 10. She was 10. Actually, she was dating an 18-year-old. Like, I'm not kidding. And I mean, this family was fucked. Like, I'm gonna tell you more. So the mom was dating this one dude who the girl that like was our age. So she was 16, and like, well, she was actually 15 from when she was 14 all the way up to 16. This dude would always want a threesome with her, like her mom's boyfriend, and her mom would just be okay with it.
The fuck?
Yes, it was weird, and like, so like, she was like, it was weird, like it was bad. Like, I mean, like her mom would just talk about how she loves eating poop, like in front of her kids, by the way, and like it was fucked. But like, no, the girl was like at the age of 11 went and fucking overdosed on fentanyl.
Jesus.
Fentanyl, whatever the fuck it's called. And I'm like, what the fuck? Why? What? I was like, where was she? They were like, oh, well, she ran away. Like, she's 11 years old. Like, I was like, it pissed me off because I'd be like, I would tell her, like, go to school. Like, you are 10 years old. Like, you don't realize, like, school should be fun for you right now. Like, when I was 10 years old.
School was a blast.
Like, I would go to school and it'd be fun. Like, why are you not going to school? Like, whenever, like, I was sitting there, and, like, she was like, yeah, I'm dating an 18-year-old. I was like, the fuck is wrong with you? I was like, yeah, it is fucked for what he's doing, but also, like, you were 10 years old. Like, this was before she overdosed. And, like, now she's fucking still running around. She, like, when she got out, she still ran away again. Because the mom don't give a fuck about them. I was like, how? Like, what the fuck? I was like, yeah. Like, I remember I went into that house one day, and for some reason it smelled like shit. Like, I mean, like, actual fucking shit.
And you just plopped a log in the middle of the hallway type shit?
Yes! And then she was like, well, I had an accident. Well, she was like, me and Marco had an accident. And I was like, you didn't clean it up? Oh, no, I was going to have one of the girls clean it up. And I was like, I wasn't laughing because I plugged it. But I was like, so you want your kids to clean up your aftermath of the sex? She's like, yeah, so they could learn. I was like, learn from fucking what?
You're disgusting?
And then, like, her mom doesn't like me because, like, I would be like, I don't like you guys. Like, you guys are fucked. Like, you have a 10-year-old who fucking goes and is having sex. This bitch, like, drama queen, like, loves drama. Constantly in it. Like, I mean, like, constantly in it. Like, talking shit. I'm like, you don't give a fuck about your kids. Like, what the fuck? And her mom's like, you were my favorite. And now I don't like you because you're an asshole. I'm like, I'm not an asshole. Like,
just telling you how it is.
Like, you're fucked. like, I honestly, like, I really hope that girl dies. Like, just because how bad she's treating her kids, you know what I mean? Cause, like, I feel bad for the kids, and, like, I don't blame them. Like, I don't blame them. Like, the mom is fucked. Like, if your mom's fucked, your kids are fucked.
Yeah, that's how it is.
Like, if your guardian's fucked, you're fucked. Oh. But, like, I'm like, you're like that. It just bothered me. Like that girl was 10 years old, smoking weed, not going to school, overdose on fentanyl, running away, driving, like having sex. Like I was like 10 years old. Like I don't even fuck it to like a girl. Like I'm more like
she's a kid.
Like a kid, like
a child.
Like a child, like
not even a teenager.
Like no, yeah, exactly. I'm just like that kid been through stuff. Like I've seen some of the stuff they've been through really bad, but like just from like the way they act, I know they've been through worse.
That's sad. That's a sad reality of most houses, though.
Like
that's like
Christ.
Like this world ain't picture perfect.
Like the thing is, like a lot of families try to cover it up. You know what I mean?
That's not to be like that's the res, but that's the res.
But like, this is gonna sound a little dickish, but like I think it is better when they cover it up. You know what I mean? Like I mean, I'm not saying like don't fix your problems, but like when you show the whole world, you know what I mean? That's when it's like we have our own problems. Like figure yours out. Like we're here to help, but don't.
But like the fucked up part is if they do cover it up and they don't try to fix it.
Yeah, that's when it's bad. And I did say that wrong. I mean, like, for example, like, one thing she did was, like, she would openly show us, like the mom showed us that the guy wanted to have sex with them. You know what I mean? That's what I mean by, like, don't show it like that. Like, don't show other people.
That guy deserves a jail. Show people. Fuck that.
But the mom was showing it to flex on us, you know what I mean? I mean, like, when they show it to flex. Or, like, show it, you know what I mean?
I think they should just be exposed on that.
I think they should just be in jail. They shouldn't be exposed. Like, I mean that must
be in jail.
That one dude she was with isn't there anymore last time I heard. But, like, that mom deserves jail time. Like, that fucking, oh my god. It's weird, it's gross, and it's like they're kids, and they're fucked. Like, now they are fucked.
That just correlates to, like our race. Like, not like, you see, like, that's just in correlation, like, not to switch up topic, but, like, that's in the same sense of, like, covering shit up. Because, like, other reses, they're like, yeah, we have our issues, but we're trying to fix them. Like, our res is like, look at our culture, look at it, like, look at this guy, he's doing this, but, like, what made him do that, you know? Like, what made him want to get out of, like, the lifestyle that he's in? And, like, you like, it's all fucked, because, like, our res, they're like, we have, like, 3 people were murdered. And, like, our res didn't even acknowledge it.
Actually?
Yeah, they were just, like, they just only posted the person who did it. And they're like, yeah, have you seen this man? And people are like, he killed 3 people! What do you mean? But, like, it's just fucked. Like, our res cares more about how we proceed on the outside than how we proceed on the inside. Like, Reservation Dogs, like, the whole reason, like, that show was so popular, because they actually, like, dove into, like, real reservation problems, like, suicide, drug addiction, like, how poor our reses are, like, how, like, mistreated and, like, mistreat our people we do. Like, it's just all fucked. I can go on for, like, years.
This kind of reminded me, like, when I be telling people, like, we need to fix America, like, why don't you leave? And I'll be like, because my ancestors are from here. Like, my ancestors taught your guy how to bathe, food. They're like, well, you can always leave if you don't like it. I'm like, I don't want to leave where my ancestors, like, fought for. Like,
where would I go?
Like, they're like, well, they're in other countries. And I'm like, well, there's Canada. And I'm like, I don't want to live in Canada.
Canada's just as bad. Like, yeah, they do, but, like, hell, Canadians are racist towards Native. Canada had the most residential schools in the Americas.
The ones that, like, killed people?
Killed kids.
Because, like, isn't most of the fucking, like, you know, like, because it doesn't relate to the podcast, but, like, so, they're finding a bunch of dead kid bodies, like, that were molested and thrown in a huge hole, and, like, under churches, like, churches, schools, and, like, all of that. Like, boarding schools, what they made natives go to. Like, they forced natives to go to these boarding schools where they would get raped, like, touched, killed, abused, and, like, stripped from their culture. Like, couldn't talk Lakota without getting beat. Couldn't look native. Couldn't have long hair. Like, all of these cultures, like, stripped them from it. And they're finding, like, what they're finding at them is a bunch of dead bodies. And Canada is where one of, like, the most are.
Most.
Like, that's like they're finding them some in America, too. but like where they're really finding them is in Canada.
They found like 10,000 in Canada.
Kids, like just bodies,
Kids.
all like
There's like 30, like probably a lot more in America. Like,
yeah,
dude, Red Cloud.
yeah, they won't scan it.
They won't. Like, they were set up to. Then Red Cloud's like, we would just have to. We should put it off because the school year. Everyone's like, suspect as fuck. What you mean you can't scan it? Like that's just.
Because they don't want to get exposed. Like
It was used to be called Holy Rosary, like oh my god, my dad, like this is like to lighten the mood a bit because we were talking about like dead babies and shit, but like not to like brush over it, but like my dad told me a story when he first went to Red Cloud, right? Like it was just he said it was only named Red Cloud for like 15 years before he went. Like he was saying that like they had to like they were still subjugated to take theology classes or Bible classes. They were still those were like core classes.
Yeah.
There were manual classes still, and like literally like 10 years after being able to practice our religion, they were still mandatory at that school. Like this like funny story is that like my dad and his friend like they had this like preacher guy like he taught theology like Bible stuff, and then he took him outside and they were like he was preaching. He was like he was standing outside, like facing the sun, like this, facing away from the students. He's like, God gave you this, all this land. God gave it to you. You should be thankful for God. Like blah blah blah. God this, and like my dad's friend was like, hey Chris, check this out. Picked up a pine cone, like a pine cone, and he fucking threw it at that teacher like harder than fuck. And bald ass head too. Bounced off his head, and he was like this still, and like my dad said, like the way this guy was so funny because like this guy was like clenched fist like this. He was like he started shaking. He was like, and like he turned around like angry, and like his face was red. He's like, this is why God doesn't love you. You guys don't respect and listen to the person who knows God the best. And they just start laughing at him. He's like, no more outside. I'm not taking you guys outside anymore. And I was like, what the fuck, bro? Like,
wait, but like, then this is like for me personally, this is the one reason why I don't like Christianity in general. It's because it's like, and I'm not trying to disrespect you guys, like you know what I mean? Like I'm not trying to disrespect Christians, but like, think like if you really think about it, like they're always preaching about God, but half of them don't follow that shit. They always say the Bible was meant like by the hands of God. But why do you have like 17 different versions of the book he wrote? Like at first there was no tattoos, but now there's a new scripture. Like what? You can't just change it for you.
I mean, if we followed like the First Testament, like people would be married to their rapists.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. But now now it's the Second Testament. Who the fuck? So who wrote the Second Testament?
Moses
God.
too?
Like God? Like no.
Did God talk to you? Did God like give you like did he airdrop you notes or something to like write down new shit?
But like, and that's what I mean. Like they literally just changed it for themselves. You know what I mean? So they could get tattoos, so they don't look bad. But like, just recently, our grandparents were forced to go to those boarding schools. Like that's not that long. Like 2 years, like a couple of years before my mom was born, she almost had to go to them.
Literally, that was like 40, 50 years ago.
Yeah.
Like all our grandparents were subjugated to go to those schools.
Yes.
Mandatory.
Like they were forced to go somewhere, stripped of their culture, religion, like the way they talk.
You can see it in like our grandma, like Nana.
Yeah.
Nana's so sad that she doesn't know her religion because she was forced to go to this school and forget all about it.
Like, and if they did learn, what did they get told? They got beat. They got hit. They got fucking touched. Probably some of them probably got touched at nighttime by the pastor because.
That's why grandma became an aimster.
Like and yeah, and it's like it's fucked. Like I don't believe in God because if God is real, then he just did a shit ton of bad stuff to people. Like,
well, he'll forgive us. He'll forgive them.
And it's like, and like all the times you see these pastors touching kids, pastors doing that, like, it's just like when I look at it, I'm like, it's just a look for hope. And I also see it as bad because my ancestors were stripped. When they went to like Texas, they really like God said this is our land and stuff. You know what I mean? Like when they first got here, when settlers got here, they fucking killed all these Mexicans for that land, just because God told them to and stuff.
Like, it's also like this other like, people are weird. People are just like you could like, it's like basically mass hysteria at this point. Damn. That was not recording for like 5 minutes. Yeah, but it is like, yeah, it's just all fucked. Like the whole thing around like religion is basically like a way to like control people. Like, it's all fucked.
It's not even just Christianity. Like I feel like I don't like.
There's a lot of religions like Judaism, like there's Muslims. There's like they all do it in the name of a higher power.
Yeah. Even natives. Like I mean, I'm not trying to sound like what is it called? Biased. But like the one thing like I've learned about like natives, there was like no higher person that like treated their people like shit.
Yeah.
Half the time where people were trying to get food and survive and that's it.
Just trying to eat deer meat.
They weren't trying to get more money, get more of this. They were just trying to get food, go on with their life. The strongest nigga wins. Like
that was it.
Like savage like, but like honestly, it's way better than, oh, you don't have money, you don't have like now like people would be like, having a fucking house over my head isn't a right. That's freedom. That's like, that's my, what is it called? What are those called? That's a right. It's not even just a not right. Yeah, like a right. Cause like having a roof over your head is a fucking right. And we spend all our tax money. Oh, instead of helping homeless, we fucking try getting like
military.
No, like for example, have you seen California? They have benches that are meant so like homeless people can't sleep there. New York have like grid things so people can't sleep on them. Instead of being like, hey, let's build something to help them, they're like, don't sleep here. Like they try hiding it. They want these homeless people to go somewhere more dangerous. And it's fucking.
There's that whole valley in Cali. Like there's just like a valley of tents where all homeless people live.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Like they just all do crack, give each other HIV, and like sleep in tents all day. It is fucked. I hate this world. It's gonna end soon. All societies collapse.
I saw this thing that was like this scientist is like, the way America is going right now, we are gonna go into a right wing dictatorship, and people are like, why right wing? And it's like, they're like, well, you guys see how much you guys love Trump? Like, and like, at first I was like, why would it just be a right wing? I feel like we're gonna go into like, you know what I mean? At first I was like, ain't no way it's just one way like that. And they were like, look how they see Trump. Like, you know what I mean?
If you're like basically like a god.
Dude, they do not. I was watching these videos, and these niggas were at Trump rallies, and they're like, God sent Trump here to save us. And it's like, what the fuck? It's like,
or when he lost.
Oh my god.
They stormed the fucking Capitol.
And like, at first, like, I'm not a Biden fan, by the way. I'm not a Biden fan.
I'm not either.
But like, the way like I see Trump, like Trumpies mainly, is like, the fuck is wrong with you guys? Like,
who hurt you?
Let me just who hurt you. Like, they don't have thoughts, because most of the Trumpies are the niggas who believe reptiles are real and, you know what I mean, bullshit like that. Because like they're the most gullible, and that's what Trump did. That's one thing that I could say about Trump. Trump was smart.
He played his cards right.
Like he played his cards to like get these niggas to like.
He's a businessman.
Like he brainwashed these niggas like.
He played his. He's a businessman. He saw like what would get him the dub,
and did it.
And he did it.
And like he understood, like he got these people to follow him to the end of the world.
Like also, if you think about it, like it also like helped push a lot of things out there. Like I'm not saying I'm not a Trumpster. I'm not defending what he said or what he did, but like it helped people like it just exposed racist America basically.
Yeah, and
like it helped push forward with that. Like before that, it was still like all white like models and stuff. Like barely any black models. Like it was rare for like black models.
But that's a little different. Like nowadays,
I'm just saying added on to it.
But no, but I want to say something about that, like the black model. That's not Trump's fault. That like with the black models, right now it is a trend to be black. Like if you really look at all these companies, you will see the black model, black people in movie stars. And I'm not saying it's bad. But like H&M, for example, like 80% of their users are white. But if you look at all their models, like I'm pretty sure it's like 60% of them are black. Because like, look at it. It's like hip hop. Hip hop is the highest trending music right now. Who mainly does that? Black people. Half of the clothes are inspired by black people. Some of the most famous people: Michael Jordan, Kanye, Jay-Z, Beyonce, J. Cole. Like these are rappers. I don't think like other people. Like Michael B. Jordan, and, like
Washington.
Like all these like white people are like some of the most famous people right now.
Black.
Like the black, because it's a trend to be black nowadays. It's not. And then like just in general, like right now, black people are just entertainment for white people right now.
That is true.
Like, look at our sports, all filled by black people. Look at the things people listen to, all filled by black people. All the stuff we're watching,
Who owns all those things?
White people.
White people.
Because they're realizing it is a trend to be black. And like, I'm not saying this is bad, but like one thing I'm realizing, like one thing I saw, like for example, sports. All these sports, football, basketball, who mainly plays them? Black people. But guess who's getting all the money, especially in college? Because they're not allowed to have it. Like if you're in college,
they're not allowed to have endorsements.
They're not. And so
They're sponsored by the college.
any picture, sponsors don't even pay them.
No, like the college wants to be their main sponsor.
Yeah.
Because it makes the college look good.
And like that's why a lot of black people, well, it hasn't happened yet. But I was like watching this thing, and like these black people are like, we need to stop going to these colleges to play their sports to get them more money. If you look at the NFL, not a single owner of a team, like the owner of a team, all white people. Yeah, there's black coaches, but like not a single thing. And Colin Kaepernick did a good series on it, and it is true. Like, the NFL is literally like the combines. Like it's not as bad, but it's like slavery. They're aspecting the width of their hand. Who's the tallest, strongest, just
the biggest dick.
Because they want the best players so they could get the best, like get the most money
And most views and most everything. Like you see it now. Like it's starting to become like natives are doing it. Like that adds in. Like I was like told one time like you should go dance for these white people, and I was like, well, why? And they're like, because they'll pay you thousands of dollars to do it. Like rich white people like want to see our culture. And I'm like that does sound like a good gig, but like you gotta understand that like you're just entertainment for the uncultural like people who don't
have
care, don't have a culture. Like they're paying big bucks just to show other people, hey, look at these guys dance around. That's pretty cool, huh?
Yeah, that's literally what like we are like. And like, I'm not trying to be an ass. Like, yeah, there's white people in the league.
I'm glad like we're getting some money, but like it's rich white people. Like they $5,000 to us is like, oh my god, what? But like to them, it's like that was like an hour of work for me. Like you're just being paid for like basically a movie ticket for these guys.
And this kind of ties into these corporations. Like I was watching this video that was like, I'm not putting my 2 weeks in. Like, and like I was like, yeah, like, and they're like, because I get fired, they ain't gonna give me 2 weeks to get a new job. Why do I have to give them 2 weeks to fucking what's it called? And that's like my whole way I work is like, would this company do beyond an extra for me? Like, would this company? Oh, well, you're not doing as good. Here's 2 weeks until you can find a different job. No, they wouldn't, because no company gives a fuck about you. All these companies, like Amazon whole purpose for workers, because it's way easier for them to do that. If like they want you to work there for a short amount of time and quit, because if you work there for a long time, they have to pay you more, and then now you get insurance. Oh, you more like the more longer you work there, the more prone of you getting injured, and if you get injured at work, they have to pay that. If for your insurance, they have to pay that. You know what I mean? And
so it's just best to treat your employees like shit until they quit, and so you get new employees.
Yeah, that's brand new. You work them until they're tired and quit. brand new, and a lot of these companies that are like, oh, now hiring. You know, it's funny, you apply, they're going to give you an interview and not call you back. Because they took COVID relief money. Like, a lot of companies took COVID relief money, and if they start hiring people, they're going to have to pay that back.
Yeah.
So, like, and like, also, people are fucking stupid. If they pay us more, like, if they just jump from $7 an hour to $23 an hour, where it should be minimum wage, then yeah, then that's gonna skyrocket the, like, you know what I mean? But like, if you go to 15 right now, and then just like, you know, keep raising up the minimum wage, because the minimum wage, I don't remember what president made it, I can't think of it right now, but he literally said, this is so you can make a living's worth. It's not meant to go get a boat, it's not meant to go, you know,
so
get the buy a new car. It's just so you could get a decent car, get a decent place, so you can live, like, for you. You know what I mean? It's not meant to support a whole family, no. But it's meant to, like, for a nigga to get a house, get a car, like, all of this. And these people, like, no, it's gonna increase inflation. Inflation happens. It happens no matter what we do in this world.
It happens because there's more mass production. There's a lot more things to inflation than just getting paid more. Like, inflation happens because there's too much stuff. There's too much things. They're not going as fast. So you gotta be like, well, we gotta raise prices so we can slow down production. And so we don't have mass product things, so we can just keep it at the same price.
Like, I'm like, this is dumb. Like, this nigga's like, it kind of pisses me off because it's like, are you really that self-centered? Like, to not care for other people? Like, especially like college student debt. Like, there should be no reason why for me to go to college is gonna cost me a shit ton of money. And like, these jobs realize they could pay minimum wage. Like, they don't need to pay that much. They could pay $15 an hour. Is not gonna get you shit in this world unless you are working like 80 hours weeks.
Much like us.
Yeah. Unless you have like
me and you.
Like, $15 an hour would be good for us, like not even teenagers, like
adults,
not even like adults, but like people who don't have a job, like car,
came from the mud.
Like, you know, but like, I'm trying to think of it. Like, it's good for people who don't have like a family, don't have a house. You know what I mean?
Just self-independent.
Just simply to live on until you can get a better job. That's what it's meant for. It's like, but like, these companies, they don't do that because they don't have to. Because minimum wage is $7.98. When you hear 15, you're like, wow, that's so much. But that ain't gonna get you nothing. That's gonna get you nowhere.
Get you somewhere when you're living with your parents, not paying anything.
Yeah, but like, if you are 30 years old and making $15 an hour, you are working 80 hours a week just to have a house, just to support your family. Like that, like, there should be no reason why, not 80 hours a week, but like, I would say like 60 hours a week, just to probably get like $1,500 a paycheck.
That's what I noticed at my job is that, like, whole reason, like, the guy who works there sends us home early is because other people need more hours. The whole reason he sends me home early, and I know that. Like, I'm not stupid, but like, I'm not gonna work at that job any longer. Like, literally, like, I'm putting my 2 weeks in like 2 days. Like, I don't care if my hours get cut. Like, yeah, I'm gonna milk it for as much as I can, but like,
that's the whole. I'm not at a job to be loyal to. Just like I would be loyal to a job that is loyal to me, a job that cares about me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that cares. Like, I worked at this one place. Fucking my appendix, it bursted. Like, I literally almost died. These niggas, whoa, when can you come back? Whatever. I'm like, okay, well, that's good, fine. And then I get back, and I'm like, I cannot lift more than 10 pounds. You know what they did? Got mad at me. And then they sent me to lift more than 10 pounds. And they're like, that's your fault. I was like, I told you guys, by the way, I'm only 18, so I'm like, yeah, I'm adult, but like, I'm not like fully adult.
I'm not a fucking superhero.
Like, I'm not good at talking to people like that. I'm like, but I was like, I told him not to, but he told me I'd be fine. He said I had help. And they're like, well, that's your fault. And then they sent me home. And I was like, well, shouldn't you guys pay me for this? Like, what the fuck? And they said, no. I get back. I watched a fucking, because it was what are they called? Cabinet building place. I watched this dude, like, he was using one of the flame things. It exploded, and when I tell you, you could see this bone, like, it was burnt to crisp. They sent him home. The next day he comes, and like, what the fuck? Your hand just exploded. They told me I had to come back. I was on fire. I was like, what the fuck? They're like, yeah. And I was like, Jesus fucking Christ, like, what the fuck?
You could have sued him.
Like, and then, like, for example, when our auntie died, I fucking told him, like, my auntie died, like, I have to go to Rapid for it. And like, when will you be back? Like, I don't know when the funeral is. Like, she just killed herself. What the fuck you mean? Like, they're like kept asking me that. So I had to go back to go to work. And like, I go back to work, and like, they're just doing shit to get me fired. Like, I know it, cause like I was like sitting there, and they're like calling me in, and they're like, well, you can't clock in. You have to clock in 15 minutes early. I was like, are you gonna pay me? No, you don't get paid. What do you mean? I clocked in at 6:59. Well, that's too late. You have to clock in 15 minutes early. And like I said, that's illegal. And they were just doing shit to me. You know what I mean? Like, I remember one day, I stayed from 7 a.m. all the way to 10 p.m. and we didn't get paid past 5.
The fuck?
Yeah, and whenever like I asked them about it, they're like, well, we decided not to pay you guys for that because you guys didn't make enough cabinets. You're supposed to make 400, but you guys only make 300 extra. And I was like, what the fuck you mean? Like, I was
extra.
I was like, what? They're like, yeah, so we didn't pay you guys for 3 hours. And I was like, what the fuck? So then I quit because I'm like, this job doesn't give a fuck about these people. And like, when I would tell people like, dude, how long have you worked here? 30 years. And I'm like, how much are you getting paid? Well, I'm getting paid 17 now. I'm like, what the fuck? I was like, you getting paid $17 from 7 a.m. to sometimes, like, I mean, the latest, I only worked until 7 one time. No, 7 or 8, I don't remember. But like, I mean, there was days when I didn't go because I was like, hell no. Or like, because I was also at school. Like, they would be there until 10. 7 a.m. to 10.
Jesus.
And they wouldn't pay them sometimes.
It's fucked.
And like, the main thing they did whenever I worked there was like, oh, we have a nurse. That nurse was never there. Like, I remember, like, this kid broke his arm. Like, I mean, when I tell you, I know that arm was broken because that arm was like snapped. Like, anybody with a clear eye could look at that guy's arm and see it was broken. They made that nigga work for the rest of the day. Like, I'm not kidding. I was like, this one girl, a whole cabinet fucking fell on her. I mean, like, I don't mean like a small cabinet. I mean like a fucking, what is that called? I think it's like,
wardrobe?
It's like kind of like a wardrobe, yeah. But like, I'm trying to remember the wood. It was like really fucking heavy wood. Like, I mean like a bad, like, and that thing fell on her. And the nurse said, just go back to work. And I was like, you guys are okay with this? And nobody seemed to care. Nobody seemed to care. They were like getting vanished of. Like, I was like,
as long as they got that bread.
It wasn't even that much. Some of these, like, I was talking to this dude had 13 kids. I don't know why he had 13 kids, but he had 13 fucking kids. And he worked there, and he's like, yeah, well, just don't make me enough, but it's something. I was like, you guys
I would just use the experience from that job to get a better job.
like Kevin, you guys have 13 kids.
That would suck. But I think it is time. This is a very woke episode.
Yes.
We did not stick to one topic.
I know.
But at least we got some things out there. How fucked up corporations are, that's what we got out there.
Yeah.
And that concludes what, episode 5?
Sure.
Episode 5 of the Vodcast.
My merch will be dropping. Yep. My brand, my clothing.
We are not moving to North Carolina anymore.
We're moving to Rapid City. That's pretty cool, I guess.
Rapid, if you in Rapid and you watch this or near Rapid area, come join the podcast. You know, we'll talk about
experience.
Speak your truth.
Speak your
what you
mind.
got. What you got, and just whoa. I'm gonna like my next thing is I'm trying to get people on just to tell their story, tell their perspective of things, of how they view things, and like that's just gonna be the next segment of the podcast. So yeah, thanks for tuning in this time. We'll catch you guys in like another 2 weeks.
New shirt. Like Gucci.
When'd you get it?
I went to Old Navy.
Damn.
They gave me a